Good evening, guys. Welcome back to True Gunners TV. It is a late one, by the way. It is nearly 10 to midnight here in the UK. But I couldn't go to bed without doing a match preview for tomorrow's game. Of course, the football season is nearly back. Many Premier League clubs are starting their pre-season tours this weekend. Of course, Arsenal starting tomorrow with an opening fixture out in Germany against Nuremberg. Now, I don't know how much you guys know about Nuremberg. Me personally, I don't know a lot. I've had to do a bit of research on Nuremberg as a team. Of course, we see Arsenal play in a pre-season fixture against them only last season. So this isn't new to Arsenal. This is what looks to be a regular pre-season fixture for Arsenal, just to get a little bit of a warm-up, bit of fitness back into the players. And yeah, so we kick off our pre-season over in Germany tomorrow. And then, of course, we head over to the United States, where we will face the likes of the MLS All Stars, then Manchester United, and then Barcelona, before coming back to the Emirates to play against Monaco for our final pre-season game before the Charity Shield match against Manchester City, which should be an absolute brilliant game to kick off the Premier League season yet again. So FC Nurnberg, who are they? Well, they were formed in 1900s and currently ply their trade in the second tier of the German Bundesliga. Not a very good team at this moment in time. They actually finished in the bottom half of the second tier of the German league. But before the Bundesliga was created, they were actually a very successful club. They won 9 top tier titles and 4 German Cups. The most recent one in 2006 and 7. We'll be playing at their stadium, which is the Max Morlock Stadium, which opened in 1928. And that's about really all the information that I've got on Nuremberg. The only other bit of information, maybe you guys may remember this, of course, Konstantinos Mavropanos, we all remember him. He was actually loaned out to Nuremberg by Arsenal in the 2019-20 season, where he made, I think, around about 15 appearances for them. We've also loaned previous players out to Nuremberg as well, apparently. So this is a team that Arsenal have a very good relationship with, and it's a good opening fixture for us to, like I say, build the fitness back up and get the players back into pre-season and get ready for the Premier League season. Now, I'm going to be very interested to see what happens in terms of who actually plays tomorrow. Are we going to see the brand new signing, Kai Havertz? It's going to be very interesting to see where Mikel Arteta decides to deploy him within the squad. Obviously, that's a question that a lot of Arsenal fans have over Kai Havertz's signing. £65 million, a lot of money to spend on Kai Havertz, especially when he's had 3 very average / poor seasons at Chelsea. So it's going to be very interesting to see if he gets given an opportunity tomorrow and where he plays. It's also going to be very interesting to see if the likes of Folarin Balogun gets an opportunity as well. Of course, we know he wants opportunities at Arsenal. This is the perfect time for Mikel Arteta to take a proper look at him, obviously having an excellent season out in France. I did a little bit on that today. The video, go and check it out after you've watched this one if you haven't already. Of course, I was talking about Balogun and his links to Chelsea and many other top clubs in Europe. I want to see him given an opportunity by Mikel Arteta tomorrow, so we can really take a look at Balogun and how he has developed over there in France, and whether we can actually use him in our squad. I believe we can. I believe he's going to be the type of striker that we are crying out for. Somebody that can offer us something different off the bench. We're really going to see over the next over the next week or two, while the pre-season is going ahead, hopefully he'll be given plenty of opportunities to showcase what he has learned over in France and stake a claim to be in this squad. So I'd like to see, obviously, Folarin Balogun get given opportunities. I'd like to see Kai Havertz play tomorrow so we can see what kind of position Mikel Arteta wants to deploy him in. And we can work out roughly how he's going to be used in this Arsenal side. I'd also like to see, because Balogun is not the only player that Mikel Arteta has decided to bring on the pre-season tour, that Arsenal don't necessarily, expect to be there necessarily. Ethan Nwaneri as well. I think I've said that name right. I'm not 100% sure, but of course he's been a big talking point as well this summer. Those of you who don't know who he is, he's a Hale End boy. He's 17 years old, and there were a lot of top clubs in Europe interested in this kid. He's supposedly the next big thing to come out of the Hale End Academy, and hopefully we'll get to see him being given an opportunity now that he has signed a scholarship with Arsenal. A lot of hype around this kid, a lot of ex-Arsenal players saying that he could be the next big thing. So maybe we'll get to see Ethan Nwaneri as well. Obviously, Mikel Arteta has took him on pre-season, so hopefully we'll get to see him given an opportunity. Will we also get to see William Saliba back in the Arsenal team yet again? He's been training over there in Germany. He seems to have recovered a little bit more from his back injury. It's all about fitness at the end of the day. And until you are in a game situation like we will be tomorrow, it's hard to tell how he's going to get on with his back injury. Has he fully recovered? Hopefully he has. Hopefully there won't be any problems in that one. I'd like to see, the likes of Tomiyasu being given opportunities as well. All these players that have issues with fitness should be playing tomorrow, just to build them back up again. Of course, we've got the likes of Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, all them players that continued on through last season, no injuries, no worries at all. It's hard to gauge anything from pre-season, especially when you're playing against a second-tier German team who are very, very poor. But it's all about fitness. It's all about getting yourselves ready for the Premier League. And that is something that I will credit Mikel Arteta with since he has been manager at Arsenal. He has, over the past couple of seasons, in terms of pre-season, he's done an exceptional job to get Arsenal ready for the Premier League season. Even in terms of signings, a lot of fans are getting very frustrated, me included, that Urian Timber and Declan Rice have yet to be announced. We was hoping that they was going to be ready to play for Arsenal out on this pre-season tour. That doesn't look to be the case unless Arsenal do an absolute madness tomorrow and all of a sudden they're announced and they've already, gone out there, flew out there for the pre-season. But I highly doubt that one. I'm expecting to see them two players when we go over to America to play the MLS All Stars, the Manchester United and Barcelona. And what else? What other business can Arsenal do in the transfer window? We're going to be very intrigued to see what happens there. The players that we've got coming back from loan as well. This is another opportunity for, maybe a few of them players to be given an opportunity in this Arsenal side. Not necessarily to stake a claim in the actual team, but to give the manager a good look at them and decide what he's going to do in terms of their future. The likes of Lokonga, the likes of Nicola Pepe, the likes of, let me think, who else went out on loan last season? Nuno Tavares, give these players an opportunity, see how they've developed while they've been out on loan, and then make a decision on whether we move them on or not. I suspect that the majority of them players will be moved on. Thomas Partey, that's another player that I'd like to see being given, an opportunity out in pre-season, because we already know his injury record at Arsenal, and it's very up in the air what's going to happen with him. Will he stay? Will he go? Who knows? A lot of reports going around that Arsenal are looking to move him on. Hopefully, if that is the case, we already have a replacement in mind, and we already have a replacement that can come in and take his place. If that is not the case, then I would like to see Arsenal prepare Thomas Partey for the season as best as humanly possible, because we've already seen last season and the season before that when Thomas Partey is not in that midfield, we are a completely different side altogether. Saliba was a big miss last season, no doubt, but Thomas Partey's drop in form at the end of the season was also a big, big issue for Arsenal. Not only was we poor defensively because of Rob Holding having to come in, and Kivior, for an example, who are, Rob Holding is just not good enough. Kivior, I'll give him a pass because, first couple of games in the Premier League, he's just getting used to moving to a new country. He looked good in certain games as well, but he's just not William Saliba, is he? Let's be honest. But that coupled with Thomas Partey not playing well is what affected Arsenal in terms of winning the league last season. Now, what we do know is this pre-season has to be very good. We have to come out of this pre-season raring to go, ready to hit the heights that we need to hit this season, because the fan base, and rightly so, expect us to challenge for the Premier League title yet again this season, and they expect a trophy. And we expect to be competing in all competitions, including the Champions League. So Arsenal have to be ready to go. Fixture 1 against Nottingham Forest, we have to be ready and prepared to go into that game, knowing exactly how we're going to play, what we're going to do, who's going to fit where, and it's going to be very intriguing to see. I will be watching the game tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of you guys will be watching the game tomorrow as well. I would have done a watch along for it. I don't really see much point because it's only a pre-season game. I will be doing watch alongs when the Premier League season kicks back off again, and of course match previews, match reactions. I'm going to try and include you guys as well and get you on for fan cams, so you can get your opinions across and voice exactly how you're feeling after each individual game. I've got lots of plans. As you can see, we got the green screen now. The content, I'm trying to sharpen it up, make it better so that it's more interesting for you guys, so that we can get ourselves there to the 2,000 subscribers that I am aiming for by the end of this month. Speaking of that, make sure you guys are hitting that like button over there. Make sure you're getting your comments in and letting me know your thoughts and feelings on Arsenal and pre-season and transfers and anything else surrounding Arsenal. And more importantly, if you are new to the channel, please help us on our way. It would be very much appreciated. And hit that subscribe button just there. And of course, the notification bell so you never miss a stream on the channel again. Listen, guys, I'm going to read out a few of your comments and then I'm going to get myself out here and get to bed. It is currently midnight. But I will be back tomorrow with a match reaction for the pre-season game. Like I say, I'm going to be very intrigued to see how we set up out there in Germany. It's not an important fixture, of course, it's only pre-season, but we're really going to gauge exactly what Mikel Arteta is wanting to do with this Arsenal side. The Kai Havertz one is more intriguing to me than anything else. And Balogun. You know, Balogun has to be given opportunity for me before we even think about what we're going to do with his future. So, comments. Let's go. Who have we got here late on in this evening? We've got Ogun 187. Why has West Ham relisted Rice shirt for pre-order? West Ham are playing games, bro. Of course, we know the Declan Rice deal was not yet done. Sky Sports was reporting out earlier that West Ham are ready to sign the contracts and that, but they're just waiting on the Arsenal lawyers. I don't really know, bro. Everything's all up in the air with this Declan Rice thing. You know, on Friday, he was supposedly doing his medical at Colney. Nobody really knows what's happening with this Declan Rice deal. Hopefully, it hasn't fallen through. Hopefully. I don't understand it myself. Why would West Ham relist the Declan Rice shirt? It's a little bit weird, that one. It really is. But hopefully we'll hear some more on it in the coming days. If the deal falls through, I am going to be seriously, seriously mad. I really, really am. Because it's a big deal. We thought we was going to get it over the line. If we do not end up signing Declan Rice because the deal has fallen through, then big questions have to be asked. But for now, I'm going to give the football club the pass to just, you know, deal with the situation. I know we're all frustrated. I know we're all, you know, patiently waiting for the announcements of both Timber and Declan Rice. Unfortunately, Arsenal like to play games. They like to, you know, be slow with things like this. So we're just going to have to be a little bit more patient, my friend, unfortunately. Good evening, Brandon. What's happening with Rice and Timber? What's the delay? Great question, Niall. What is the delay? This is typical Arsenal with delaying things. Like I said before, the Declan Rice thing, you know, I'm expecting this to be one of the best, if not the best, announcement video I've ever seen in my life, because I don't know what is taking so long. I really don't. The Timber deal was all but announced. You know, his twin brother actually tweeted out something along the lines of Timber's moved from Holland to North London. So that one is pretty much like done deal, sealed. All Arsenal got to do is sort out the announcement video with the media, and then that's it. Job done, wrapped up. But like I say, Declan Rice one, it's all up in the air still. Nobody really knows what's happening, but I'm sure we'll hear more over the next couple of days. Highbury's local badger, big up yourself. These clowns running Arsenal need to stop looking for a winger. Just make Jesus a winger and get us a 6-foot goal machine and give us 2 defensive CM. Get rid of Lokonga, Jorginho, and El Neni. Well, Lokonga should hopefully be moving on. I agree with you that El Neni should definitely be moved on. I think he's had ample enough time at Arsenal now to prove whether he is good enough or not. We all know that he's a very limited footballer, and he's never going to hit the heights that we need at Arsenal. Sorry about that. My dishwasher is beeping. So it is time to move on from, you know, these kind of players. Jorginho, it looks like he's going to stay. Now, not 100% best pleased with that one. I never really wanted Jorginho at Arsenal in the first place. He did an okay job when he came in. Of course, you can say that. You can also point to the fact that he has experience in the Champions League, for example. He's been there, done it, won it, seen it with Chelsea. And that experience may end up being vital to our young players that we have. As I say, last season, big downfall. You could put it to loads of different things. Mikel Arteta and his decision-making, the loss of William Saliba, the loss of Thomas Partey's form towards the back end of the season. You can also put it down to a lack of experience in our squad. None of our players, apart from Jesus and Zinchenko, have ever really been involved in a title race. So you could put that down as a factor as well. And Jorginho being experienced in the Champions League in particular, having won that, he can maybe guide these players a little bit in the dressing room. I'm not saying he's going to be a big factor on the pitch, because I don't think he's of the level anymore to break into this Arsenal team and be a major factor in terms of us winning stuff. But maybe in the dressing room he can lead these players, and we're going to need it because Granit Xhaka, of course, has left. And I don't care what people say. Martin Odegaard is the captain on paper, but Granit Xhaka was the captain without the armband. Granit Xhaka was the leader in the team. We no longer have him anymore, so we need leaders in this team. No doubt about that. Luca, hey, how are you? I am good, bro. How are you? It's a late one. Are Arsenal signing Thomas the Tank? Settings Choo from Real Madrid. Thomas the Tank settings. Choo. Is that Chouameni? I don't know. It's all up in the air as well, because there were strong links of Arsenal to, Chouameni to Arsenal. There's, been links recently of Frankie de Jong to Arsenal. And I just think Arsenal are potentially looking at bringing in a top-class midfielder if Thomas Partey leaves. I think a lot of it relies on what happens with Thomas Partey. At the moment, it's looking like Thomas Partey is going to stay, because although Arsenal are willing to accept offers for Thomas Partey, the only club in Europe that has really shown an interest is Juventus, and they only want to pay £20 million. Well, I'm sorry, but Thomas Partey is worth more to us running his contract down than the £20 million that Juventus is going to give us. I'd rather keep Thomas Partey, allow him to run his contract down and miss out on the £20 million. I just think that's absolutely ridiculous. The only other clubs that have shown an interest in Thomas Partey are, of course, the Saudi clubs. Now, he doesn't want to move to the Saudi clubs. He wants to stay in Europe. The Saudi clubs are willing to offer around 40 million euros, so £35 million, roughly, which is a bit more of a better fee for Thomas Partey. But at the same time, in this day and age, okay, Thomas Partey's, 29, 30, he's injury prone and all this. But when he is playing for Arsenal, he is an important piece in this team. And I just feel like for that sort of money, I wouldn't bother selling him at all. Can you imagine a midfield of Declan Rice and Thomas Partey with Martin Odegaard in front? I think that's a top-class midfield. And it's all about, can we keep Thomas Partey fit? Can we stop him from having these little dips in form towards the back end of the season? Well, I think having a partner like Declan Rice instead of Granit Xhaka will do him the world of good, because he's not having to do as much defensive work as what he is when he's playing with Granit Xhaka, because we already know the deficiencies in Xhaka's game is the defensive side of the game. Because when this guy tries to defend for Arsenal, he's got the turning circle of a bloody Titanic. He always gets himself booked or sent off. So Partey has to cover a lot of ground when, he was playing with Granit Xhaka, especially when Xhaka was playing further forward. Now, it worked out really well for Arsenal because it allowed us to attack teams better. Granit Xhaka, I think, actually did really well in that role last season. I think Declan Rice could be even better. And he can do the defensive work as well without the disciplinary issues. So, yeah, interesting one. It really, really is. Really, really, really is. We need to keep Partey, to be honest. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. Extreme Gunners says, I am worried. Why have West Ham relisted Declan Rice and what is the delay? I've already explained that one, my bro. I've already explained that one. I demand Mbappe, Ivan Toney, Dusan Vlahovic or Kane. If not, Kroenke and Arteta out. To be honest, I hate them all. They are piss takers. I demand a EPL Cup and UCL Cup this season. If not, I want them all out, including the dog. The poor dog. Bless the dog. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of Kai Havertz with the dog and oh dear, and Martinelli with the dog as well, and it's all so cute and lovely at Arsenal, isn't it? It makes you laugh because they know how to pull on the heartstrings of the fans. Nobody really looks and sees a dog and goes, "Oh fucking hell!" Everybody go like. If you see a young puppy or whatever, everybody thinks it's cute, So it's the same reaction that Arsenal are getting from the majority of fans when they're posting videos of, the players stroking the dog. It's like, what are we here to do? Are we here to be vets and pet bloody animals and stuff? Or are we here to win? Ironically, that's the name of the dog. But yeah, I demand Mbappe. I mean, I'd love for Arsenal to sign Mbappe. I have been a big advocate of Mbappe for years. I mean, you probably see, if you go all the way back in the archives, I think I mentioned once, I can't remember what channel it was on, but this was well back when Mbappe was at Monaco. And he was just up and coming through the ranks and stuff. And Martial had just left, joined Manchester United. Mbappe was given his opportunity in the Monaco side. And I watched him a couple of times in the Champions League and I thought, Jesus Christ, this kid is special. He has everything to be a top class player. And it's turned out that way. But I don't see how Arsenal will sign Mbappe. His wages is just astronomical. It really, really is. And why would we break our wage bill in order to sign him? There's not really many clubs in Europe that can, afford to sign Kylian Mbappe. I don't think it's a case of Mbappe necessarily wouldn't or 100% wouldn't come to Arsenal. But I do think it's a case of Arsenal ain't paying his wages. No chance. Ivan Toney, I'd 100% take him. I'd take him right now. Even with his ban, I think he'd be an excellent signing to come in and make an impact in January. Dusan Vlahovic, I think that ship sailed, to be honest. He's an all right player. But I'm not sure he's got what it takes to cut in the Premier League, to be honest with you. I know Chelsea are linked to him, but I just think that ship sailed, Harry Kane, fucking hell, If I could have a pick between any of them players that you've just put in there, Harry Kane would be the one. He would. And it's not just because he's a Tottenham player and it'd be great to piss them lot off from down the road. It's just a case of he is the perfect striker for our system. Look at what he does for Tottenham. He's not just a goal scorer. He creates. And what does Jesus do for Arsenal? He drops deep, he creates. And that's what makes Jesus fit so well in our system. Doesn't matter that, he only scored 12 goals last season because he created a lot more. He helped the likes of Martinelli and Saka score goals, create assists. He links it all together, Jesus. Harry Kane does the same at Tottenham, but he also scores goals as well. 30 goals last season. Like, don't get me wrong whatsoever. I hate him because he plays for them. But you just got to respect the man as a player. Not his persona and his attitude, mind you, because I do think he's a bit of a serial loser, especially if he stays at Tottenham now. But yeah, if I could have a pick between any of them players, bro, it would be Harry Kane, no doubt. Hey, Brandon, how we doing? How we doing, Static? BX Gunner 81, clowns running Arsenal. They seem very competent to me. They're doing an okay job. They're doing an okay job. Like I say, it's very hard to gauge what's going on with Declan Rice at this moment in time. You know, we will probably hear more over the next couple of days. I think, personally, the deal is done. I think West Ham are playing games at the moment and trying to force Arsenal's hand into getting this deal moved on a bit quicker so they can maybe get their replacement in. You know, obviously they need the money, FFP and all of that. But at this moment in time, it's a little bit slow. And it doesn't surprise me. Arsenal are involved in the negotiations, and we are slow with things like this. So, you know, at the moment, I would agree with you that they're competent at the moment. Until things start falling down and going wrong, you know, I'm going to give them, you know, a little bit of leeway at the moment. DWTT, how are we doing? Yes, mate, Chumani Curtis made that banter joke with choo-choo joke from Thomas and friends. Thoughts on Milinkovic-Savic being Saudi bound? Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. I would have took him maybe 2 years ago. But when people were linking Milinkovic-Savic to Arsenal this summer, I was kind of like, to replace Thomas Partey, you're not really gaining anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think Thomas Partey is a better player than Milinkovic-Savic. I think Thomas Partey, you know, and Milinkovic-Savic are very similar in terms of age. You need a long-term replacement for Thomas Partey, not a short-term fix. Milinkovic-Savic would have been a short-term fix, and, you know, I see that as being a little bit of a waste of money. Look, anybody who goes over to the Saudi League this summer, can you blame them? You know, look at the money that they're offering. It's ridiculous. If they come and knocked on my door and said, I want you to come over to Saudi for X amount of money, I'd be on that plane within seconds. No doubt about it. So you can't blame these players, you know, they're only human. Gary, evening all, says Afsar, big up Afsar. Old School Gunner says, hi, how are we doing, mate? Responding to BX Gunner, they seem competent. Are you on crack? Hey, there's a little bit of a thingy going on here. Footy chats, how we doing? In my opinion, I think we should keep Partey for one more season because I can't see us getting a serious replacement for it. I agree. If we brought in a Chouameni or Frankie de Jong, then Thomas Partey can leave by all means. But if Arsenal are not going to bring in that sort of replacement, then we're looking at, let's say, Romeo Lavia, who I think is a very good player, but he's not ready. He's not ready to be performing at the top level week in, week out for Arsenal Football Club in the Champions League, the Premier League, you know, all of that. If you're going to bring in Romeo Lavia, then you have to keep Thomas Partey anyway, because Thomas Partey can be the kind of guy to nurture him, help him, develop his game more so that when he eventually moves on, Romeo Lavia is ready to start week in, week out for Arsenal. I don't think he's, you know, the type of player that's ready to start week in, week out for Arsenal. So, yeah, unless you're going to bring in somebody who's the same level as Thomas Partey, if not better, keep him. Keep him for one more year. And then, you know, if you really want to move him on, then move him on. But, you know, he's got, 2 years left on his contract? Just let him run his contract out. You know, you're better off doing that than taking £20 million. What's £20 million going to do? Like, how are you going to go out and get somebody who's just as good, if not better, as Thomas Partey for 20 million quid? You're not. So it's a no-brainer to me. If Harry Kane was to join Arsenal, it'll be another Sol Campbell. Will he be known as a Judas like Big Sol? I don't think Harry Kane's got the minerals to join Arsenal. I don't think Harry Kane would ever think about joining Arsenal. Now, we know he's an Arsenal fan from young, and the temptation would probably be there from him. But can you imagine the abuse that he would get? Like, it was different back in, Sol Campbell's day, because back in, the early 2000s when he moved to Arsenal, there wasn't really much of this social media and all of this, that and the other. Now, imagine going from Tottenham to Arsenal now and having to deal with social media, with the fans being constantly on your back week in, week out. I don't think he's strong enough mentally for that, Harry Kane. SMS, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic was good when we were in Europa and not Champions League. He would have been a good signing for that. Emotional children with a dog. Unbelievable what football club has a dog in a training ground. They have turned our mighty club into Clown FC. We brought Kai. We are a refuge for rejects and don't act big. We will see. Brandon, what is your take on these rumours on Thomas Partey getting linked to Man United? I don't think that'll happen. I don't think that. I mean, if Arsenal sold Thomas Partey to Manchester United, then, mate, you only have to read Highbury's local Badgers bloody comment just above yours, mate, and I would be in full agreement with him if that was to happen. I mean, I think we're past them days now, like the Robin Van Persie and the Alexis Sanchez days. I don't see Thomas Partey joining Man United unless it was on a free transfer, which he's still got 2 more years left on his contract. Like, imagine if Arsenal strengthen their rivals, because Man United will be, a rival to Arsenal this season in the Premier League, no doubt about it. If they get their striker that they're so desperate for, and they get Onana, who can play out from the back, who can do that kind of role that, Ederson does for Manchester City, that Alisson does for Liverpool, and that Ramsdale does for us, it allows them to play more expansive football, which is exactly what Erik ten Hag wants. And look at the fact that they had David De Gea in goal last season, who cannot do that sort of thing. He struggles when it comes to playing out from the back and creating from the back. Imagine having someone like Onana with a striker like a young up-and-coming striker like Erasmus Højlund, for example, with Casemiro, Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes. Like, I could see Man United being up there this season. I really could. And, if we was to give them Thomas Partey, like, what on earth would we be doing? But that's why I don't believe them rumours are true. And that's why I've had the nutcase blocked for weeks. Jorginho is staying 1 more year and then he will leave on a free. This is why we should keep Partey for 2 years. Okay. Why is the Rice deal taking so... Everybody's interested in the Rice deal. Maybe I should have done a Declan Rice video once again, because I seem to be doing Declan Rice videos an awful lot at the moment. We've agreed a deal for him and signed more or less all the paperwork. So what's taking so long? It's just Arsenal, bro. It's just Arsenal. We always need an overload of depth. Exactly that. Fabrizio hasn't mentioned Partey going to United, which makes me wonder if they're even linked to him at all, or whether it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. I think, Man United probably look at their squad depth and think, Thomas Partey would be a great option for us. Imagine a midfield of, against the big clubs, for example. You're Man United and you're going away to Manchester City, where, you've lost quite a lot of games against Manchester City in recent times, and they've been not just by 1 or 2 goals. Like, we remember the 6-1 and the 6-3 and this, that, and the other. Imagine going away to the Etihad and your midfield is, you got a double pivot in the 6 role of Casemiro and Thomas Partey. Like, who's getting by that? I don't see anybody really getting by that. And then they can create from that as well. So I think Man United would love to have Thomas Partey alongside Casemiro, no doubt. But yeah, it ain't happening. It's not happening. Sell Tierney. Okay. Balogun and buy Frankie de Jong and Ivan Fresneda. Sell Tierney. I'm not on that one, bro. I want to keep Kieran Tierney. I think he's highly disrespected by Arsenal fans, to be honest with you, and by this manager. I think, when Arteta first joined Arsenal, you have to say Kieran Tierney was arguably one of our best players. And there are going to be times this season where we can't play that inverted role, because we will get found out. I think if we was to go away to the Bernabeu, the Allianz, or something like that in the Champions League and try and play with that inverted role, can you imagine Zinchenko inverting into the midfield, leaving his left-back position like he does, because he's not a very good defensive player? Imagine the freedom that the likes of Vinicius Jr., Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry would have on that left-hand side. They would absolutely rip us a new one. So you need somebody who is more than capable of going, doing the traditional left-back thing, going up and down the pitch, and that can defend. And Kieran Tierney is as good as you're going to get out there, You do need somebody like that. So I wouldn't sell Tierney. I would keep him at Arsenal. Balogun, possibly. Depends how he gets on in pre-season. And that's why I'm very intrigued to see how he's going to do. Because, again, I did a video on him earlier. So make sure you go and check that out after this one if you haven't already. And XG, I don't like the term XG. I don't like all this expected goals bullshit, blah, blah, blah. To me, goals and assists are the only 2 stats that really count. But his XG last season was only bettered by Robert Lewandowski and Erling Haaland. So his expected goal ratio was better than Kylian Mbappe, better than Harry Kane, better than Lionel Messi. I think Reims had 58 shots on target in total throughout the season, and Balogun scored 22 of them. He's clinical, man. He really is. He's clinical. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Harry Kane is a bitter Arsenal fan. He's not coming. I would love him to come and do what Sol Campbell did. But you're right. He does not have intelligence or balls to do this. I don't think it's that he's not got the intelligence. I just don't think he's got the mentality. Would you take Zubamendi? Yeah, I'd take Zubamendi, but again, I kind of see a Zubamendi as a bit like a Romeo Lavia. You can't just get rid of Thomas Partey and have Zubamendi. If you're going to bring in Zubamendi, then you have to bring in someone else as well, because we've already seen the likes of Fabio Vieira, for example, and players that come in from foreign leagues need a bit of a transition period. You can't just throw Zubamendi into Arsenal and expect him to hit the ground running, so you need somebody of a bit more quality, but you also need to take, you're going to take a risk. Thomas Partey's already settled into the league, Thomas Partey has been arguably one of our best players when he's fully fit and firing, So I think people forget that. I wouldn't get rid of Partey anyway. He was brilliant last season, so I'd keep him and go out and sign Caicedo to go next to him. Get rid of El Neni and Lokonga and sign some decent backups. Again, I'm on the same page as you, If we're going to be moving Thomas Partey on eventually, And Caicedo to Chelsea is not already done yet. It's not signed, sealed, delivered, or anything like that. We could go back in for Caicedo. You know, I know it's going to cost us £80 million, maybe a little bit more than £80 million, but you've got your long-term replacement for Thomas Partey. You know, look at the way that transfers are going right now. How many players are, you know, quoting like 70, 80, 90 million, 100 million pounds? The inflation in the market is ridiculous, and it's only going to get worse. So Arsenal will probably be better off going and signing Caicedo now for £85 million than going out there next summer looking for somebody of that same ilk, that same stature, and maybe having to spend 100 million. You know, so I see what you're saying. I would personally, I'd love Caicedo at Arsenal. I think, you know, if we was a serious football club, we'd go out and get him and just say, look, forget Chelsea, come to Arsenal. You wanted to come in January. Yeah. We didn't get a bid accepted, but we're here now. We've got Declan Rice. You can partner him in next midfield next season. And you get to play Champions League. And you get to live in London, which is what you wanted to do at Chelsea anyway. You know, so I'd be looking at that, me personally. Zubimendi is basically Jorginho that can run and looks a bit stronger. There you go. There you go. The first priority should be the striker position, though. Can't understand why we don't seem to even be considering Kane. Great player, scores loads of goals, needs to get there before Bayern. I don't think he'll go to Bayern either. I think he'll end up staying at Tottenham. Genuinely do. I don't think Bayern Munich are serious enough in terms of the money that they're offering in order to change Daniel Levy's mind. I think Harry Kane is easily influenced by Daniel Levy and Tottenham. I think all they've got to do is feed him a few bullshit lies about, oh, we're going to do this, and oh, the project this and the project that, and he'll probably sign a new contract. That's, you know, just Harry Kane. Like I said, he ain't got the mentality. We see that when Manchester City were interested in him, and he said, he wrote a little letter saying, I want to leave. But then when it actually come to the sticky part of it, where Daniel Levy was saying, no, you ain't going nowhere, rather than throwing in a transfer request and kicking up a stink and not training and doing all of that to force a move, he went, oh, okay, I'll stay. Do you know what I mean? Like, Harry Kane is just, nah, he's not got the mentality for it. Manchester United won't buy him because I don't see them getting in their Saudi owners, or the Qatari owners, sorry, until maybe August time. And then, you know, Man City don't need him. Real Madrid are going for Mbappe. Who else is there? You know, maybe Chelsea? I don't know. Listen, guys, make sure you're slapping up the likes. As Steve says here, 28 likes, 36 people currently watching. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new as well, and hit that notification bell. I'm going to read a couple more comments and then I'm going to get myself out of here. I want Caicedo, but it will cost 100 mil now too. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. What time is Arsenal Nürnberg game? I'm not sure, actually. Is it 6 p.m? Let's have a look. I'll tell you guys while I'm on there. Arsenal fixtures. Nürnberg. Yeah, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. tomorrow. I believe you can actually watch it on the Arsenal website, but you do have to pay for it. Like, this football club is ridiculous. Like, you have to pay for pre-season games now. Unreal. Jorginho is a garden slug, sadly to say, but this mighty football club has become a retirement home, a welfare system, and a refugee home for crap players. We're winning crap with Kroenke and Arteta. We will see this season, my friend. Like I said, if we don't win anything this season, I want them gone as well. I'm not sure if him and Postecoglou particularly get on though, so you never know. But I know what you mean. He is weak like that. And Highbury's local badger says, give us Caicedo. And the final comment that I'm going to read out is Arsenal charge for everything. The best challenge, they best challenge and win trophies. The amount they charge us for things. Exactly. You know, they're quite happy to take the money out of the pockets of the fans. But when it comes to actually doing what is required, which we all want to see, which is Arsenal winning stuff, competing, you know, they're always a little bit reserved and don't really want to do it, but we're forced to do it, blah, blah, blah. Like season tickets have gone up, what, 5-10% again? You know, I had a look the other day because I wanted to get a ticket for the Community Shield game against Manchester City at Wembley, right? Arsenal went completely sold out within seconds. Manchester City end, there's still tickets even now that are available. So I thought, right, okay, if I go in my normal clothes, maybe I could get away with sitting in the City end, at least to get to watch the game. 350 quid a ticket for a charity game. Like, you're taking the piss. Absolutely taking the mick. Unfortunately, Edu, etc. have no ambition, no plan, and are just winging this window. Well, we'll see. We will see. Important Arsenal have strong pre-season performances. I'm looking forward to see where Arsenal left off last year. Me too, bro. Me too. Will you be going to Champions League games this season? Do you have a season ticket? I don't have a season ticket. I try and go to as many games as I possibly can. I'd love to go to Champions League games, but I just don't see how it's possible at the moment. You know, like I say, they're pricing everybody out. I think it's because they want the tourists, you know, the people that come over from foreign countries to get given the opportunity to actually have tickets. But I think there's even a stipulation with season tickets this year where you have to go to a certain amount of games. Otherwise, you lose your season ticket. Like, they're getting really strict on that right now. Yeah, they changed so much, but don't have us as the most successful club in England. Crazy. Hopefully, the Glazers will stay at United and the Qataris will buy us. Until then, we won't win anything. And I'm going to leave it right there, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I will be back tomorrow with a match reaction to the Nürnberg game. Make sure you check out the 2 previous videos that I've put on today. One about Folarin Balogun and one about Frankie de Jong. I didn't get around to doing the Jeremy Frimpong video, but I will try and get that sorted as well. Of course, on your way out, make sure you're slapping them likes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're new and hit that notification bell as well. I've also got a live stream planned on Friday at 9 p.m. with our friend Deji Spurs. And we'll be talking, of course, more about Arsenal and Tottenham and the transfer window and pre-season and all of that. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for all of that. And I will be back tomorrow, guys. I'm going to get out of here. Peace.